Hi everyone, this is a new YouTube channel. My name is Brave and I'm from the UK, and the aim of the channel is to talk about issues that affect us as humans. It can be male, female, things that affect relationships. It can be about narcissistic parents. There's going to be a lot of topics, so just stay tuned and see what you think and enjoy the content. Thank you. Right, so this is my first topic, and the topic is, do you think that social media and smartphones are causing us to be socially awkward or have social anxiety when meeting people face to face? So I have a guest here with me, and I've known him a long time. We sort of he's like a family friend, and we're going to discuss this right now, and his name is Peter. So what do you think, Peter, about smartphones and the pros and the cons, and how it affects us as human beings when we interact with others outside of a smartphone?
Well, I think it has made a difference in the last, say, 10 years, that a lot more people find it harder to talk to people. It's not the only cause, obviously, because social anxiety has been around for forever, probably. But I definitely think people have got used to how you converse over the internet is different to how you talk to somebody face to face. So people aren't as able to hold conversations, I don't think. And one of those things I think is that when you're chatting online, you do get a bit more time to think about your response, and you can type it out and see it before you send it. And people kind of get used to that. And I think it's affected it, but I'm not sure how much it actually affects social anxiety, though.
Right. Yeah, I think... Sorry, let me get the mic close. Yeah, I think one of the appealing things about social media is the fact that people can literally pretend to be anyone. Now, obviously, if they meet people face to face, they're gonna have insecurities that they don't want you to know about, and it's gonna be on their mind that, am I pretty enough? Am I, smart enough? Or is this person gonna think I'm boring? Or so depending on who you are as a person, what your personal experiences have been growing up, how you view society's like the superficial things that society tell you are important. If you're a person who's like me, who's extremely strong, and you buck against that superficial nonsense and you don't care what others think, you know that you know who you are, basically. You're strong, you're happy in your own skin. Nothing really shakes you. No one can tell you you're ugly because you don't feel you're ugly. You look good to you, and you're not doing it to impress them. So I think when people, for instance, put on tons of makeup, like hiding their natural self, and if the makeup makes them look like a completely different person, when they take that makeup off, and then a superficial person they're dating or hanging around with will be like, oh my god, you look awful without makeup, and then it's like negating, I don't know, like the world is kind of weird in a way that it loves to discourage and tear people down. It's like quite shocking, actually, how little good encouragement there is out there. There's so much negative stuff out there aimed at everyone, and it's just bizarre. Like it's like people in one country trying to look like people in another country, and it's like, well, what's wrong with you being you? Like, no one's promoting self-love and being yourself. Like, why is that? Like, I don't know, like, and I think social media and the internet is a huge I don't want to say a curse, because there's good things that come out of the internet as well, but people turn it into a tool, an instrument, a bad tool, or an instrument of bad. They turn it, negative people do that, because really the internet should be a blessing, because it connects people all over the world. We're using, YouTube right now, and we're going to, connect with people all over the world. So yeah, I hope I'm making sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. Actually, I thought something. I thought something actually, which goes against it a little bit. What we've been saying.
Yeah.
That I think it is social media in a sense. The internet, at least, helped me a lot with my social anxiety. Because one thing I would say is that it's always been around. There have always been people who aren't able to express themselves, and that goes back well before the internet. And before the internet, they probably would have just been people. They're just loners. They're just people who wouldn't have any interaction with people. And I think the internet can give them something which will allow them to meet people. And I was just thinking back to how I was about 15 years ago now. I was, a very very shy person, didn't really have any friends, because I just wasn't really, I didn't feel like I could be in social situations. Right. And then I think I was, I can't think how old what year it was. Sometime a little after that, I made a lot of friends online, and it made me feel like I could be myself around those people, and I met a lot of them, and it actually helped me get into social situations I wouldn't have felt comfortable in before, because I already knew them from being online, because I'd found a community of people who weren't these negative people that you run into all the time. They were actually really good people, nice people to be around. And thinking about it now, I've got friends who I know much better online than offline. Yeah. So they're kind of offline friends of friends. Yeah. But I got to know them during the lockdown while we were playing games online.
Right.
And I see them much more online than I do offline.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that's kind of the way I'd look at it.
Well, thanks. As you were saying that, Peter, I was thinking that sounds really great. I think that was really good that you felt it boosted your confidence to be yourself. However, I have the worry that the internet gives you a false sense of security and safety because you think you know the people you're talking to, that many people will be like, hey, I had this great conversation with someone, in Denmark or America or Sweden or New Zealand, and now I'm going to fly to New Zealand and meet them. And that happens a lot. And I'm not saying it can't work where two totally normal, sane people can't make a connection over the internet and then decide to go and meet. But there is this kind of weird false sense of security we get where when we connect with people, it's almost like having rose-tinted glasses. Like, well, I can't imagine this person would ever be a serial killer or a nutter because I had one good conversation with them, or I spoke to them for 5 hours, or, and that is the one thing that, not just the one thing, but that is one of the things that I worry about when I hear people say, hey, I'm going to fly to, I don't know, China because I've been speaking to someone for 6 months and I love everything they say on the internet. And I've spoken to you and other people about how, there is the potential for people to trick you. And I think the reason we maybe connect so well with others over the internet is because there must be something a little broken in us, in our local community, that we don't feel connected to these humans right next door. Like, we don't even talk to neighbours here in the UK. Very rarely do you feel comfortable talking to your neighbour. Some do. Some people are very chatty and they want to be in and out of their neighbour's house and they want their kids to be best friends. But where I grew up, it wasn't safe to just be knocking on anyone's door. It wasn't safe to just be having your kids in someone else's home. You don't know them deep down and what they're capable of. You know, some of the worst people in the world had been the pillar of the community, you know, at one point, and people didn't want to hold them accountable, but they were just like, yeah, but, you know, John's such a great guy. I can't imagine he'd ever do that. And then it comes out 20 years later, he was doing those bad things. And, you know, it didn't matter that John was a pillar of the community, you know. So that is something that I do feel like, yes, I have connected with people over the internet. Yes, I have had like profound experiences talking to people over the internet. Oh, sorry. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that kind of points out that there's not a huge amount of difference over, like, people over the internet, you don't know what they're like, but in real life, you don't know what they're like either, to be honest.
Okay, yeah, I get okay, Pete got me, damn it. No, I get what you're saying, Peter, but the person down the road, if they wrong me, I can get to them. You get me? Like, if you wrong me and I catch you in if you wrong me and I see you in the local shopping centre, I'm having words with you, or I'm gonna, you know, set you straight for wronging me. But with the internet thing, I feel like let me be totally honest with you. When I went to New Zealand, right, for the first time, now I went there with someone I'd known for a year, and the way the person acted in the UK, because they were from New Zealand and they came to the UK and they were here, you know, on a visa, so they couldn't stay here forever. And then I decided that, you know, I'll go with them and visit New Zealand, and, you know, I won't go too much into my personal connection to that person at this point. But, you know, and that person acted so different in their own country than how they acted in my country. Because in my country, they had to depend on me. They needed my help, you know. But when they were in their country and I needed their help and I had to depend on them and I couldn't go anywhere without their say-so. Not that they were bullying me, but I mean, I needed them to drive me places. I didn't know where I'm going. It was a big country. You couldn't just walk everywhere. You couldn't even if you got the bus, it was like not the same. It was huge distances between the towns and whatever. And it was so different from the UK. So when they had the power, so to speak, or when they felt like, you have to rely on me now, it was like they took that power in a negative way. Whereas I was never like, haha, you have to rely on me, bow down. I was like, hey, I'll be there for you. You need my help. You get what I mean? So I've seen tons of YouTubers just seeing each other's channels and then they go and meet up and then could collaborate, like Americans coming to the UK and vice versa. And I'll be like, how did they know it was safe to go and meet that person? Just seeing them on YouTube, you trusted them? But then you were saying, like, what were you saying? Like, talk about your experience when you went camping. Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, so I was like...
you don't have to say ages.
Yeah, I can't think. It was quite a few years ago now. Yeah. And I met a group of people online. Yeah. And I'd spoken to them for quite a long time. And this group had gone camping the year before up in the Lake District. And in the UK, yes, it's in the north of the UK. It's like a region of, you know, very nice countryside. And they'd done this camping trip the year before. And
how well did they know each other?
So there was a group of them, of about 10 of them, who knew each other like offline. Right. And then about another 10 people who only knew each other from the forum, I think it was. Right. So I was looking, they then said, you know, we're going to do this camping trip again. Anyone want to come, just let us know. Yeah. And I thought, and I remember actually thinking, oh my God, I wish I could do that.
Oh.
And then I just sort of thought, well, why can't I do that?
Yeah.
And it's just, that's the way I always used to think, was just that I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do that. And I thought, no, I want to go camping. I want to see.
What was making you feel like you couldn't do that before?
I don't know. Just
like perceived fear or insecurity.
Yeah, it's probably insecurity. I couldn't describe it exactly, other than I just had this feeling in me that I couldn't do that. I couldn't.
Like a mental block when it came to interacting with others? Or?
Yeah, really. Yeah, I just always felt like I was different.
Right.
I wasn't the kind of person who could do that.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say do that, I mean literally almost anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always felt like I just had to do the things that I was always doing every day.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought, I could do that. So I drove pretty much halfway up the country.
How long did it take to drive there?
It was like a 7-hour drive.
Wow. To meet a load of people you never met before.
Yeah.
But you've spoken to them for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. And it was a 4-day trip. We were camping. It's too loud. Yeah. So we had, it was a 4-day trip. We camped for a good few days. We drank tons of alcohol. We went on hikes. We had.
Sorry, if someone heard him say "stop" is too loud, that was because I was shoving the mic closer to his mouth, and he says like, "No, it's too loud." Sorry. Continue, please.
Yeah, I can see the mic levels in front of me, so I know that this is loud enough.
All right, go on.
So we had, it was a great time. It was, I mean, for actually a long time, I would have definitely considered it the best thing I'd ever done. It was just.
You had no fear?
No, I didn't have any fear. I don't know why I didn't.
Now, some people would say, is that bravery or is that stupidity to drive 7 hours to meet a load of strangers you've only spoken to how long? On the internet?
I don't know, a couple of years maybe.
Oh, a couple of years. Okay. So the first thing you thought when you arrived there was what? Like, I'm home, these are my people, these are my soul tribe. What did you feel?
Okay, I actually felt like an outsider to begin with. I felt like, oh God, what have I done? A little bit, right? So they all seemed much more fun than I was. And like we were putting tents up and stuff, and I was just sort of doing my own thing. And I do remember on the very first like couple of hours thinking that everyone else was getting on okay and that I was on the side.
Oh,
but
they knew each other, didn't they?
That's the thing, because like some of the more extroverted people in the group were the people who knew each other,
right?
And they were the organisers.
So they're just comfy.
Yeah, so they're comfortable with everybody.
Yeah.
And but then
were they cliquey or they were just comfortable because they knew each other?
No, they weren't cliquey.
So they weren't trying to make you feel like, hey, we're close and you're not. Like, did they make you feel welcome?
Yeah, they did. They made me feel welcome, and it was just. It took maybe an hour or two before I sort of was actually chatting to everybody. And
an hour or two. So what did you do in the first 2 hours?
I was putting my tent up, getting my stuff out of the car, and I was kind of just sort of standing back and watching, which is what I used to do.
Like straight lurking. They're like, who's that little guy over there just lurking?
Well, kind of, yeah, because that's the way I used to be. I didn't know how to interact with people very much, very well. I don't know why. It's not like I was completely isolated from people. I'd been through college, university at this point. But yeah, but after, I don't know, it didn't take very long. And then we were just sort of, we lit a fire and we just sat around chatting and talking to people about, I can't even remember. I mean, we were like gamers, a lot of us. So we were talking about games. which is the thing that brings a lot of people together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. And I do remember, like, so there was one guy who was one of the main organisers, a very, very extroverted, centre of attention kind of guy.
Yeah.
And my experience with people like that before was that they would just ignore people like me.
Yeah.
And I was expecting that, but that's not what happened. Oh. And he was actually a really fun guy. And he was very inclusive. And it was things like, I don't remember what it was because it's way too long ago. But I remember...
Was he the one with the axe? You told me he had an axe or something.
Yes, he was the guy with the axe. God. And the crazy hat. Yeah. But no, he was a great guy. He was really fun. And one thing I remembered was on the second day, he remembered a joke I told, or not I told, I just made like a funny remark. Yeah. And he remembered it the next day. And that sticks in my head even now that
he acknowledged you.
Yeah.
You hadn't felt acknowledged before.
Yeah, I hadn't. Because I'd done things with like, so I used to be, I'm not a Christian really anymore, but I used to be.
Yeah.
And I used to go to a church youth group. So that was like people, older teenagers and a couple of people in their 20s who sort of led it. Yeah. But I never really felt included in that group because everybody else in the group all went to the same school and I didn't. They all just did their own thing and almost ignored me. But yeah.
Oh, sorry. I just want to quickly interject. That reminded me of how I always felt a bit like I didn't fit in, and it didn't really bother me that I didn't fit in because the people who I was around were like low-life losers, bullies and terrible people. So I didn't want to fit in with such people. I was glad I wasn't like them. But it could get on your nerves because you want to connect with people. You want to feel part of a family or part of a friendship group or whatever, part of a community. And I had a point. Hold on. Right, so what you said, how, that guy made you feel acknowledged and included, it's almost like people do tend to, deliberately make others feel unwelcome, which I find really weird. Like, I would never do that to anyone. If I go to a party or an event and I see someone sitting on their own, I will go to that person and I will say, hey, how are you? Hey, come over and talk with us, Or like when you go to, I don't know, like a social meet-up group where it's to make new friends, and I'll see a group of people and they've kind of closed the rank of like a circle, and I'll go, hello, can you just budge up so I can get in the circle? Like I never had a problem. I was shy, but I wasn't afraid to go up to people. But like, sorry, continue. You found that some people clicky at your church.
Yeah. So that was the thing. I think in places where I'd had social interactions before, I just not had a good time up until that point. And I think that's part of the reason why I always sort of felt like I couldn't do things, was because I never really felt included when I'd done things in the past.
Right.
And just little things like, there always seemed to be, like, let's say things at school, if somebody got forgotten somehow, it was me.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, if something went wrong, just like a mistake, which means that like somebody got missed off or something, somehow it would always be me. And it's just and I just kind of got used to that. The funny thing is, we've kind of gone a bit off the subject because we started talking about social.
We're going in many different tangents, but I'm just gonna bring this video to an end because I'm gonna redo a new video and we're gonna be a bit clearer about our topics. So this is like my first video. So I'm just gonna end it here. Thank you to everyone for listening. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel, and look forward to more videos. All right, God bless everyone and have a great day. Thank you. Bye bye. Say bye, Pete.
Bye, Pete.